Ogres know I'm such an awful ogre that those other awful ogres often turn an awful green. I'm awful when it's sunny, snowy, cloudy, windy, rainy. I'm awful, awful, awful. Summer, winter, spring, and fall. You are awful, awful ogre, roar the other awful ogres. I alone am awful ogre, and the awfulest of all.
Daddy.
Yes, there are many creatures up there, but if you look, I am the dancing awful ogre right there.
That's
Depicted right here.
behind.
That's my honey ogre. That's the sweetie pie ogre. See how hideous she is?
That's Orcus Divine. Oh, I totally.
Yeah, it's an eagle with one eye. It's creepy. Awful ogre's TV time. Some days I like to hunker down and switch on my TV to watch the ogre logger try to trap a fossil tree. Then an ogress in the kitchen chops some innards in a pot, followed by karate ogres who routinely chop a lot. Next, the ogre chop collectors show some samples hung on nails, chops of lizards, chops of wizards, and enormous chops of whales. Then those cartoon baby ogres chop their dinners with a spoon. I adore the chopping channel on a lazy afternoon.
It looks like he has two eyes.
He might have two eyes. Not all ogres are cyclopses. That's racist. Don't be ogre racist. Awful ogre in the garden. I'm tending my wonderful garden. It's several centuries old. I am trying to read, tiny ogre. Do not get in the way. We're making a video. I'm tending my wonderful garden. It's several centuries old. I'm growing carnivorous roses and oceans of overblown mold. I lovingly stroke every bramble and sharpen each perilous thorn, with skills often drilled into ogres soon after those ogres are born. Wherever you are in my garden, there's something to give you a fright. My thistles are longing to sting you. My blossoms are likely to bite. A number of shrubs may detain you with tendrils that smother and choke, while others are openly toxic, my sweet poison ivy and oak. Because of my ramshackle patches, where scrofulous weeds rule unchecked, I've earned from the trolls and the goblins a measure of grudging respect. The sight of disease-laden nettles, arrayed by my blight-ridden pool, evokes such delight in most ogres, they mightily holler and drool. How utterly wretched they bellow, how dreadful, how drab, how divine. Your venomous vines are so thrilling, they chill every ogreish spine. The Ogre Green Garden Alliance adores all the flora I grow. I've now won their Medal of Honor for 99 years in a row. You see this? This is me cutting down one of those disgusting pretty plants. I hate pretty plants. I like all that is ugly and poisonous.
We have plants in our garden.
Can I read, little ogre?
Yeah.
Awful ogre takes his supper. When I don't feel like cooking and supper time is near, I step out to a restaurant just 40 miles from here. No matter if they're crowded, they always seat me first, then bring me pails of water to alleviate my thirst. I never need a menu, they empty every pot and rush me triple portions of everything they got. Should that prove insufficient, I simply start to roar. They whip up extra helpings and serve me more and more. I wolf down all they proffer, till not a scrap remains. The other patrons notice, but none of them complains. They gaze in fascinations as I savor every bite, feeling privileged to witness my titanic appetite. When the kitchen cannot muster even one more drop of broth, I polish off the silverware and plates and tablecloth. The waiters stay attentive. They bow extremely low. It's patently apparent that they hate to see me go. They smile and wave profusely as I slowly stride away. They appreciate my business and I never have to pay. My appearance and demeanor seem to give me extra clout. It's ideal to be an ogre when it comes to dining out.
We're almost done.
We are almost done. We'd be done quicker if you stopped talking, little ogre.
What about this book?
Little ogre. Enough. Can we finish the video for Kiki and Noni? Please.
Kiki and Noni.
Awful ogre reflects on athletics. When I was a youngster, I harbored a dream of being the star of a basketball team. My shooting was aimless, my passing a joke. Whenever I dribbled, the basketball broke. I went out for football, it wasn't to be. My teammates were frightened to practice with me. A helmet would hardly fit over my head. As soon as they saw me, the cheerleaders fled. My sojourn with basketball was more of the same. My sojourn with baseball was more of the same. My strike zone was simply too big for the game. I even played hockey against all advice. I put on my skates and I fell through the ice. I finally tried tennis, but that was the worst. My rackets all shattered and tennis balls burst. I knocked over nets and made mincemeat of courts. I'm starting to sense I'm unsuited for sports.
He is. You should be a giant sport.
Awful Ogre's Bone Collection. I'm a noted bone collector. It's a hobby I enjoy. I begin with elf and gnome bones when I was an ogre boy. I spend many leisure moments idly trifling with my bones, and have polished some so often they resemble precious stones. I have wishbones by the dozen, stacks of tailbones by the ton, bags and barrels crammed with backbones I examine one by one. In abundant bins and barrels, baskets, bowls, and chubby holes. Cubby holes, chubby holes. How can holes be chubby? That's ridiculous. And cubby holes, I exhibit dragon toe bones and the shoulder bones of trolls. There's a goblin's puny breastbone perched upon the mantelpiece, and a set of centaur ankle bones, a present from my niece. There's a pair of stony wing bones of a gargoyle long expired, and the formidable jawbone of an uncle I admired. There's a giant massive thigh bone mounted high upon the wall, and the pinky bones of pixies. They're conspicuously small. I've erected sturdy fences out of many bones I own, and employ a wide selection to construct my xylophone. My collection's finest specimen is possibly unique. An unembellished griffin skeleton, complete with claws and beak. I display it in a showcase midst assorted rare debris. The lock will only open when I use my skeleton key. You see that skeleton key? You like how I twisted that in there?
Oh, look. Right
skeleton key, bones. We were talking about bones. Come on, little ogre, pick up on it.
I didn't know if that was a skeleton bone.
Awful ogre goes to bed. Finally, some peace and quiet.
Seriously, that's his style.
My awful day is ending. I've ranted, roared, and raved. At best, I've been unpleasant and greatly misbehaved. But now I'm growing weary. It's time to rest my head upon the stony pillow atop my rocky bed. Good night to silent vipers that slither in the mud. Good night to tiny parasites whose touch can curdle blood. Good night to furtive spiders that lurk in murky wells. Good night to loathsome vermin with nauseating smells. Good night to lowly rodents that gnaw on rotten waste. Good night to nasty maggots that even I won't taste. Good night to savage raptors and beasts that claw and bite. Good night to awful ogre. Good night, good night, good night.
Cactus.
It's a cactus, yes. I use it. That's my little baby. Like your little babies, that's my baby. It's a cactus. Awful ogre's awful dream. I meandered through a meadow, moist with early morning dew. The sun's an orange circle and the sky's a brilliant blue. Bees are buzzing busily and roses show their blooms. Sheep are grazing calmly and a peacock spreads its plumes. Fish are splashing in a pond. A cheerful robin sings. Butterflies are fluttering on multicolored wings. I awaken with a shudder. I am terrified. I roar. I have never had a nightmare nearly half this bad before. I told you I hate pretty things. This is what happens when you get Polacks to write your story. And there is me sleeping with my cactus baby.
There's like decorations all around. Daddy, there's like decorations.